The great amphitheater of the Galactic Defense Academy was alive with whispers. Hundreds of alien cadets sat in curved rows of stone seats that climbed high into the walls. They had gathered from every corner of the galaxy, species with shining scales, glowing skin, insect-like limbs, or wide feathered wings. All were young, eager, and proud, dreaming of serving the coalition in battle one day. But today was unusual. Today, a human stood at the center of the stage. Commander Elias Ward walked forward calmly, his black boots tapping against the polished floor. His uniform was simple, but the way he carried himself made the cadets lean forward in silence. He did not roar, he did not display claws or wings or teeth. He simply stood straight, quiet, his eyes steady. Somehow, that silence held more power than any loud introduction. Professor Kethvar, a Xerian with 4 arms and a tall frame covered in soft gray skin, raised one hand toward the human. His translator box clicked and then spoke the words in clear Galactic standard. "Class, today we will witness combat methods from Terra. Humans call them basic." The cadets shifted uneasily. Many laughed softly, thinking it would be simple, maybe even ridiculous. The Valorians, tall with translucent skin like glass, leaned toward one another, their voices bright and curious. The Grimaldi warriors, their thick-scaled arms crossed, gave mocking grins, ready to see this human embarrass himself. Even the Quarith, glowing lights pulsing in their throats, flickered in soft patterns of doubt. Commander Ward gave a small nod. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "Good afternoon. What I will show you is not advanced. It is what we teach to our children, to ordinary citizens. Just simple moves anyone can learn." A few Grimaldi cadets chuckled loudly at his words. To them, warriors were born, not trained. They expected clumsy strikes, weak gestures, nothing that could impress them. But the mood shifted when Ward turned to face the machine waiting at the center of the platform. It was a combat android, 7 feet tall, made of reinforced steel with glowing red sensors for eyes. Its chest plate was built to withstand crushing blows, its joints designed to handle the power of the strongest known species. The machine had been programmed to imitate the fighting style of many alien warriors, making it the perfect opponent for demonstrations. Ward raised his hands into a defensive stance. At first, it looked unremarkable. Just arms lifted, knees bent. The cadets whispered again. Was this all? Then he moved. The strike came faster than lightning. His fist shot forward, a blur in the air, and hit the android square in the chest. The sound cracked through the amphitheater like thunder. Sparks flew as the steel chest caved inward. The massive machine staggered back 2 steps, its balance broken. Every cadet froze. Their whispers died instantly. Some leaned forward in shock, mouths open, unable to believe what they had seen. But Ward was not finished. He spun with smooth precision, his legs sweeping low in a wide arc. The android's reinforced knee joint gave way with a sharp crack. The giant machine collapsed, its heavy body slamming against the floor. Before it could recover, Ward gripped its head with both hands and pulled it down as his knee rose upward. Metal shattered. The android's skull split into pieces, scattering fragments across the stage. 12 seconds. That was all it took. The amphitheater was silent. Not even the sound of breathing came from the stunned crowd. The only noise was the quiet hum of the ventilation system above. Professor Kethvar blinked his 4 eyes slowly, one after the other, a Xerian sign of deep shock. His translator voice trembled as he spoke. "Commander, you said this was basic." Ward lowered his hands calmly. His breathing was steady, as though he had not even used half his strength. He gave a simple nod. Yes. Standard self-defense. On Earth, children learn these movements in school before they are old enough to drive. Most of our people could do this with a little practice. A Grimaldi cadet, his scaled hands shaking, raised one claw uncertainly. His voice cracked. "Are you saying, all humans can fight like this?" Ward gave a small shrug, almost modest. Not all are in perfect condition, of course. But yes, this is common. And some are far stronger. A wave of disbelief swept through the cadets. The Valorians whispered nervously, their crystal-like bodies trembling. The Quarith pulsed jagged lights of fear across their throats. Even the proud Grimaldi, who lived for combat, stared in silence, their pride crushed. Professor Kethvar stepped forward slowly. His 4 hands touched the broken chest plate of the android, then the scattered pieces of its head. The machine was built to withstand a berserker attack from the fiercest warrior races. Yet here it lay, destroyed by what the human called basic. The professor looked up at Ward with caution in his voice. Perhaps, we must change the curriculum. Ward smiled, almost kindly. Of course. I even brought training videos. They show the drills our military recruits practice. Just intermediate level, nothing too advanced. The sound that rose from the cadets could not be described. It was fear, wonder, and disbelief all at once. For the first time, dozens of species understood why Earth had never been conquered. The lesson had ended, but the warning had only just begun. The shock of Commander Ward's demonstration had not left the amphitheater. Even after the cadets returned to their dormitories that evening, whispers echoed through the halls. Some wrote long reports to their home worlds, their hands shaking as they typed. Others simply stared at the ceiling of their sleeping quarters, unable to understand what they had witnessed. But the professors of the academy were not satisfied with only a demonstration. They wanted proof in a real test. Could a human perform in combat not against machines, but in a battlefield simulation where chaos, speed, and unpredictability ruled? The next day, the cadets gathered again, this time inside the training dome. It was a vast chamber where holographic walls created entire landscapes. Today, it was shaped into a rocky canyon, sharp cliffs rising high, the ground uneven and filled with hidden paths. Professor Kethvar raised all 4 hands for silence. Today, his translator clicked, Commander Ward will join 5 cadets of different species in a simulation. The task is simple: survive the ambush and reach the beacon at the top of the canyon. The cadets chosen stood nervously beside Ward. A Grimaldi warrior flexed his scaled arms, confident. A Valorian looked uneasy but determined. 3 others from different races adjusted their weapons. Ward stood quietly, no weapon in hand, only his calm expression. The simulation began. Instantly, the canyon filled with hostile drones, flying machines with sharp claws and laser fire. They swarmed down like a storm. The cadets panicked, scattering to find cover. The Grimaldi roared and charged forward, swinging his heavy club. The Valorian tried to shield himself with glowing energy. Shots rained down, the air filled with noise. Ward did not panic. He sprinted forward with speed that stunned the others. A drone dove at him, claws extended. He ducked low, grabbed its wing, and spun. With one motion, he hurled it into a rock wall. Sparks exploded. Another drone came from behind, lasers firing. Ward rolled across the dirt, closing the distance before the drone could adjust. His hand shot upward, tearing the weapon free from its metal body. He used it like a stick, striking down 2 more drones with brutal precision. The Grimaldi stopped fighting for a moment, eyes wide. He fights with no fear, he muttered, barely believing what he saw. The Valorian froze as a drone swooped toward him. Before the machine could strike, Ward appeared in front of him, pulling the alien aside. With his other hand, he smashed his fist into the drone's core, breaking it apart. He turned quickly, calm but firm. Stay low. Move when I move. The cadets obeyed. Somehow, in the chaos, his voice carried authority that made them listen. As they advanced, more drones appeared, climbing over rocks, flying through the canyon sky. Ward led the group with sharp gestures and quick decisions. He climbed cliffs with bare hands, pulling others up when they struggled. He threw rocks to distract machines, used broken drone parts as weapons, and moved with a flow none of the cadets had ever seen. Finally, They reached the steep slope where the beacon glowed at the top. Dozens of drones blocked the way, lined up in heavy formation. The cadets hesitated, fear gripping their hearts. The Grimaldi growled. "It is impossible. We cannot break through." Ward's eyes narrowed. His voice was calm. "Then watch." He charged alone. His body blurred with speed, weaving through laser fire. He leapt onto one drone, smashing its head, then used its falling body as a shield as he pushed forward. His fists struck like thunder, his knees like steel, every move clean and powerful. In seconds, the front line of drones was in pieces. Sparks filled the air like fireflies. The cadets followed now, courage ignited by his display. Together, they reached the beacon, standing at its base as the last drone fell in smoke and ruin. The simulation ended with a loud tone. The canyon walls dissolved into empty steel. Silence again. The cadets stood panting, their eyes fixed on the human. Ward stood straight, breathing steady, as if it had been nothing more than a routine walk. Professor Kethvar stepped forward slowly, his translator box quiet for a long moment before speaking. "Commander Ward, this was not survival. This was domination. And you say your people learn this as children?" Ward nodded simply. "On Earth, we call this basic training. We are taught not just to fight, but to endure, to adapt, to survive. These are things every human grows up with." The Grimaldi warrior bowed his head, a gesture of respect rarely given to outsiders. The Valorian, still trembling, whispered, "If this is basic, then what is advanced?" Ward's answer was quiet but powerful. "Advanced is why humanity still exists, no matter how many times the galaxy tried to test us." The cadets said nothing. Their eyes told the story: fear, awe, and a new respect. Later that night, across the academy, one message spread silently from species to species, written in private logs and whispered in quiet corners. "Do not challenge terror. Do not provoke humans." The galaxy was vast, filled with powerful empires and ancient races. But now every young warrior knew a new truth. Humanity was small, but in their strength burned something terrifying and unstoppable. And the lesson was clear: never mistake simple words like basic when spoken by a human.